There's this fascinating dynamic playing itself out in society, in human connection, the narcissistic empathic bond. There's this dance happening between two polar forces that create this trauma bond relationship that is lasting a span of some people's lifetime, and it's adopted from like a small age, and we're entangled with very soft, compassionate, kind, and loving, giving, nurturing, empathic souls that are attaching to sucking, like vampiric, like draining energy. And the dynamic of what a narcissist is, for me, from my experience, this has been my entire life. And I have a perspective. And what I'm seeing play out is from a small age, there's a pivotal time when a child has the option to choose if they need to survive or if they are safe. And unfortunately, a lot of children are not given the opportunity to feel safe. And that's due to many things like abusive parents, absent parents, the foster system. You know, it has everything to do with epigenetics and how the DNA structures itself to interact with its environment as it grows. So the child can turn into a human that can get along in society at its most functioning possible way, that it will also be happy because it wants to survive, it wants to thrive. And at a young age, I can see how the dynamic where the narcissist is born, it's where a child is in a state of survival. It looks at its options. It's an intelligent kid, because being a narcissist is not, ultimately it's not ideal, because what it is saying, I am in control, I am in charge, I'm the leader of my perception and reality. And not only is that important to me, but it's important to me at all cost. So I can lack compassion and caring for those around me, because what matters the most is my survival, because the child is put in a state where it has to choose. Well, if I want to eat, or if I want to receive love, if I want to survive, some kids are literally needing to survive, so they have to learn psychological manipulation and turning certain cells on and off to activate different parts of themselves to protect themselves. So they have to basically become an adult in a child's body. And unfortunately, what happens is a very similar trauma happens to a codependent, because as a child, we're seeing this dynamic. It's massive. It's generational. This is going to be of the generation of humans during this time, where we're realizing this, the absence of femininity, meaning to find balance within oneself, to say, I am alpha, I am the leader, I am omega, there is nothing above me, meaning I am not better than or above, but I am what I am. I am all, I am the knowing. Having wisdom that you are in charge and in control of your freedom means nothing outside of you can harm you. And that's what a surviving child is trying to fortify. It's trying to create this shield, this armor, this protection. Whether it chooses whichever path that it goes, the shield of armor looks different per circumstance and per child. And what I'm seeing is how the child that chooses and depends on an empathic soul is seeking that validation and approval that it lacked from its, most likely its mother, but it could also be its father, right? It depends on the dynamic. But it, at its core, is feminine energy. So whether the father was too hard, too rigid, too rough to be in that child's life, meaning too imbalanced in the masculine, meaning lacking femininity, the softness, the patience, the dedication, and hard work it takes to be there in the child's life, or if the mother maybe is too rough, too rigid, too strong, too independent, too non-receptive, not emotional, having to turn off that emotional side, that's also lacking femininity. And I feel what's happening here is children that are developing these qualities about themselves, like needing to survive their environment, needing to walk into a situation and feel safe, they have to personify what they feel, who they feel they are. And if at home they never receive that reassurance, that validation, that strength, that foundation, we're seeing a development of many different kinds of kids. But in this dynamic that's really strong for me right now is that narcissistic codependent. It's not to blame either side. Like, I can actually fully see the balance in the necessity of this energy, because it's what it's doing is we're teaching one another on each side of the dynamic to be stronger, not only for each other, but within ourselves, to balance that out. It's really trying to create this yin and yang. I've watched it recently so much of this amazing YouTube channel called Soft White Underbelly, and he interviews many people, from prostitutes to drug addicts and pimps and like strippers. It's an amazing, authentic channel. And I feel like when I watch this, I see people, humans, that are so disregarded and not cared for, misunderstood, judged, and treated like trash because of either their choice, like let's say they're a drug addict or a prostitute, or a pimp. These people are being judged until we hear their story and we understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. It's not to say we agree, but maybe we can find compassion and understanding as to why people do what they do. Well, there's this really interesting character, and my heart goes out to many. Honestly, my heart goes out to all of the beautiful, beautiful people that get interviewed on that channel. But a few stood out, first of all, shout out Juliana. I think that's her name. I love you, girl. She's on that channel. She's got a beautiful story. That girl's strong and amazing. And I'm sorry about Amanda as well. But a Sharp named Pimp, a pimp named Sharp. That's his name, a pimp named Sharp. So he's basically like he's a pimp, like for real, like this, he's something, right? His words. And everybody talks about this game and this ism and what it is. And like, it's like these girls are so terrified of men, especially their pimps, especially the ones that take all their money and basically pimp them out. Like, that's what's happening. They're being pimped out and all their money goes to a pimp, and the pimp pays the bills of the house. Like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. And these poor girls don't really know that there's they have a lot more options in life, because they're stuck in this dynamic. A lot of them start doing this at like 11 years old because of how the poverty conditions they live in and grow up in. This is literally their life. It's normal to live in an environment infested with rape and violence and drugs and addiction, abandonment, neglect, abuse, and I relate because I grew up to a degree in this environment, but I can humble myself and say, like, wow, these people have it so much harder than me. What can I do? How can I help? What can I do to make things better? Well, this pimp named Sharp, he goes on other podcasts and things because he's quite entertaining to watch. He's very, very funny. He's charismatic. He's charming. He's Casanova. He is that dude. I know that dude. I know that dude. He's a very skilled dude. I think he got into pimping when he was like 14 years old. And I can only imagine what his life was like before that. But I watch him, and I as much as he's made me laugh, and I can, respect him as a human on earth, he has every right to breathe as I do. Just if you pick up on the cues and what he's doing, how he speaks, like I highly, recommend someone spending a day of their life just looking into Sharp the Pimp the Sharp, whatever the fuck. Y'all get it. Look into him. Soft white underbelly. Anyways, this man, he gets interviewed, and what he does is he can't, so he's so like alpha. He's like, when he walks into a room, he has pre-studied everything. He knows he knows what's about to happen. He needs to be the alpha, the in control, on top. And I know these people in my life that have been like that. I think I've always had, like, since my memories began, I think I've always had someone in my life that was that one-upper, or someone who just needed to express their dominance, how they were the alpha or the leader, or it's just such a weird, I don't know, right? Highly recommend you look into these mannerisms and what I'm talking about. And if you've seen them, I would rather not explain them, so I highly recommend looking in. But narcissistic qualities that I personally have experienced are telling me how we are forgetting how to connect to our babies, to our children. Two of Pentacles, Three of Wands. We're forgetting how to connect to our children. And when a child has to survive because it's neglected, it doesn't experience the basic needs a child has, like safety, security. I feel like this over dominance, this over alpha pushover energy, like what's the point in having a conversation with somebody if all you're gonna do is yell? If all you're gonna do is like go in it to be the winner, like what do you learn? How do you learn if everything that you do is to mask that you are vulnerable, that you have vulnerability? I feel like what we're doing is we're pretending that we can't access our softer side, as if being softer is bad, especially if you're a man, or especially if you're masculine. It's as if we have some belief system that soft, gentle, and feminine is a bad thing. We associate it with negative. And in this dynamic of the narcissist and the codependent, what we're seeing is one side is too feminine, one side is too masculine. And it's almost like a stretching energy that comes, right when I did that, did you hear that? The bottle popped back there. So it's an energy where it pulls, it comes in, it pulls, it comes in. And why this is important, I'm not just sitting here rambling about this because I'm bored. This is important for us to know, because in our lives we have relationships where one side is the negative part of the battery, the magnet, one side is the positive. And to bring this battery into action to actually light something up, to make something greater, rather than having just a dead battery, is knowing this dynamic in our lives. Where are we codependent? And if we're codependent, why are we doing it? Where did it stem from? At what point in our childhood? Because a codependent is experiencing, I have to sneeze. A codependent, I really do have to sneeze, wants to rescue and save people and things, and it's almost like also reliant on the validation and the presence of another energy being there for a codependent is literally good enough. So like for a codependent, a really weak codependent is somebody who will stay with somebody who will do something really, really, really bad to them or their children or both or everybody. And they'll stay because they can't be alone. Like they're willing to go through hell for themselves or for their kids or for everybody, just so they're not alone. Like that's how sick codependency is. I personally have experienced that, I think, a lot of my life. It's not impossible to fathom the dynamic where we need someone around. I feel like a lot of us are codependent. We didn't learn certain levels of independence. It can be emotional, it can be physical. Like some of us have different ways that we express our dependency. But when you get in this dynamic with a narcissist, someone that's dependent on someone who treats them badly, or someone who, because in my opinion, it's not possible that all narcissists are just out in the world to treat people badly. At the root of it, what's happening is meaning the energy of narcissism, like the whole concept of like me pouring out my baggage on you. It comes from the fact that when they were little, I can see how a parent is going to go out of their way, not out of their way, but a parent is far from feeding that child its needs. So the child has developed this sense to like look at other people in its life that are going to be, it's like it wants the energy wants the parent to fulfill its duty. Like it's so weird. Like I'm literally seeing like a baby drinking its mom's milk, like a mom holding its baby and just like loving on it. That's what we seek. We seek that, you know, if you've ever taken anything where you got to go to that place where God or spirit or the universe can just like embrace you and hold you, you know? Have you ever experienced that? Or if you've ever had that family, that bond with a parent, you can imagine if you've not had that, or if that has left your life, especially really young, really, really young. Some people have never experienced that, have never had a mother hold them and say, I love you and I care about you and I'll protect you and I'll keep you safe. Some mothers have, you know, and I'm not blaming or pointing fingers, but some mothers have let really, really horrifying things happen to their children, mainly because that's what they've learned. And it's like this passed down trait that's going through each of us. And it's playing out in this dance so we can see it, so we can heal it. It's at the surface. It's literally trauma rising collectively to the people of the world. Wow. 3 of Wands, literally, again. Okay. 2 of Pentacles. 7 of Voices. I love being in the silence, and I love hearing my own thoughts and having the many me's in here that can express and communicate together, to be able to connect to my higher self, to be able to channel and be in my world, my space, my creation. This is my bubble, my place. A lot of emotions behind all that exterior hard energy that narcissists push out, you know, because that's what the empath is trying to do. The empath is like, look, I can rescue you, I can save you, I can hold you when your mom didn't hold you. I can hold you, I can love you. That's what the empath, the codependent's doing. It's trying to throw out that lifesaver. And what happens is the narcissist energy, which is just a forgotten child that needs to heal its emotional and mental self. Not that it's impossible, it's just so buried behind denial and underneath all this rough alpha energy. It's so crazy. It's just so freaking crazy. I just want to see the world have a space where people don't feel so unsafe. Like, it's like we're building an unsafe world with so many restrictions and so many people walking dead. So many people are dead right now. Not many people are alive on the planet. I don't know how that's going to change in the future. But I know this energy has a lot to do with love, because this dance that we're playing with these two energies has everything to do with love. Because lack of love, if you're the opposite of love, it turns into hate. At some point you end up hating the person that treated you some type of way. And then once you realize that hurt, you like turn that off and you're like, okay, well, they don't exist, or I'm not hurt by them. You know, you get in this state of denial where you're like, I'm not in pain. I'm over it. I'm already over it. And then you break that down even further, go down another layer of the onion. And at some point, you know, you get to a layer where you're like, well, damn, this happened 20, 30 years ago. As angry as I am, or as pissed off as I am about someone else or what someone else did to me, how many years did I spend hating myself, you know, staying stuck in my comfort zone, not being able to express how I feel, like when I love, because that's the problem with a narcissist. A narcissist is so insecure with so much love. Like, I'm saying this all from a space of love for all parties. I love you all. It's like we get to this space where and we see everyone wants to be validated that their experience is actually happening, and that what happened to them, if negative, obviously, it's not okay that it happened, but it's okay to let go and to forgive and to sometimes accept what has happened, to let go. Like, how long do we carry the energy of I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you? This energy where we go months or years without talking to somebody, and then we just like go all in and we get all entangled, like just to get beaten and torn apart. You know, there's this game, such an ugly game. Actually, to some level, it's beautiful. But there is a game being played here. And it's interesting because what I'm picking up on these pimps, they call it, there's a game. Like, you got to know the game. And the girls even say, these prostitutes on the show. And it's funny because I feel like what the game, or like what part of that is just saying, like, having the ability to mind fuck somebody else to the point where you have them so in service of you because your caregiver from your childhood was not in service of you. So you had to learn to be so selfish to pull that you could have never got energy in to this new person, whether it be a girlfriend or whether you're doing what you're doing with girls, with women. A lot of people do with multiple women, like shut their heart off and then carry on multiple relationships with people, when there's plenty of people that want to have an open relationship people can be with, and that's perfectly fine. But to go around and lie and pretend and to carry out multiple relationships is causing a wrench in the dynamic because you're not being honest. You could just say, hey, I want to be in a relationship with 3 people, and that's who I am. And that person could say, no, I'm not like that. Or that person could say, I'm cool. That's all right. As long as, you know, that's how open, cool. Like, we're so insecure. We are so insecure. And it's a circle. It's a circle of life coming back around to say, are you going to listen this time? Do we want to change? Do we want to... How do we want to handle this? I'm just like having a lot of like stuff happening over here. Life force energy. Beautiful humans. I'm sorry I'm moving so slow, but I'm really trying to catch the vibe correctly here. And I think that's more important than the lack of attention span that most people have. But life force energy, chi, magnetism, polarity, balance, love. This is what's happening. Lord of Oppression, 10 of Wands. This heavy weight that we're carrying generation to generation. We got to break this. This is that generational curse energy. So we all are carrying this generational curse energy, meaning whatever that may be for your family. Obviously, the dynamic I'm picking up on has something to do with my life because I'm connecting to it. Has something to do with the message I have to connect with, to share. And I feel like a lot of people are going through this back and forth where there's a dynamic of people where someone wants to rescue and then someone wants to dominate. And in this dynamic, both at the core, at the deep level, want the same thing, but they don't get it because instead they're acting out on their survival, protective, defensive energies, which is their masculine sides. It's like their masculine sides are trying to create a magnet and come together. Or, I'm sorry, a battery and make a charge. But you need a masculine and feminine, you know? And I feel like in this dynamic, we're seeing it's not possible. It's not possible to do that with what we're allowing. We're not communicating our truths clearly. We are, as codependents, you know, I'll speak for the codependent side of the battery. we feel as if we give ourselves away so much. If we're just like, well, this person needs me, this person, that person, I need to be all these things for all these people, a circus act. It's like we think that if we juggle our lives so much for other people, if we just keep giving, that at some point it's gonna give. Like God's gonna come in and say, yeah, you gave 100% of your energy away, and here I am to refuel you back to 100%. No. I've learned. When you do that, you give away 100% of your energy, oh boy, is the repair process on. Then your body, then your mind, then your spirit has to repair itself. It has to get all the way back to 100%. Like that's now its goal. So it goes into this like survival mode of overdrive thing where you're constantly not understanding why you're so depleted. If you're giving so much away, why, it's like almost ridiculous. And then you get lost and all these things happen. You get confused. Like, why are you running in circles? Why are you constantly... It's like you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like, it's going to work this time. Like, I'm going to keep trying to put the square in the circle, and it's going to eventually work. I'm just going to go and go and go and go and go and go. Rather than try something new. Rather than understand this is a pattern that's repeating itself in my brain, and I'm following it every morning that I wake up, that I have a new opportunity and a new chance to change the dynamic, but instead I'm repeating the program. That's what we're doing. And the more we allow the, I would say, positive side of the battery, the push, because we gotta have a push and we gotta have a pull. That masculine energy, that narcissist energy. Not to say that they're evil, because they're not evil. How do I say it? Right use of power. It's like, let them play games with themselves. They want to play games. They want to one-up each other. They want to argue until they're blue in the face. They need someone to emotionally let their baggage out on. They got to have that, right? Well, we at some level are allowing it, because when you're very empathic, very passive, you are tapped into being overly receptive, being overly giving, overly open, allowing this lack of boundaries. And this game is still playing because the empath is like, we're on the chessboard and it's the empath's move. Like, the next move needs to be a boundary. And we need to set up this boundary because our wall's not strong. And we need to play this game right. We need to know who we're playing with. Like, it's just a big mind game. It's all a freaking mind game. Obstacles at the bottom. It's torturous. But these poor innocent, like, these souls really are like playing out the karma, the DNA, the downloads that they've received from their parenting. Like, at what level? It's like not about blaming. It's about holding yourself accountable. Because if the codependent's constantly pointing at the narcissist and the narcissist constantly pointing at the codependent, which I've been in the dynamic, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, we want to blame each other. We want to point fingers. Wow. But I think that the highest objective view here is to say, you know what? I'm going to put up this boundary, because if you make me that uncomfortable, whether I'm the narcissist or whether I'm the empath or whoever I am in this dynamic, I obviously, if I'm a narcissist, I can't see it. I'm in denial. It's me. It's who I am. and I feel that person's doing this, that, and the third, so I should step away. And the empath needs to have the strength to say, you know what, this person does not respect my boundaries. They are lying to me. They manipulate me. They control me. They do all these things that make me feel like crap, but I stay. You know, we have to learn on both sides what is our boundary and how do we hold ourselves accountable. Why are we choosing to intermingle ourselves with so much hurt and pain and then expect the victim response to be dominant and the leader that guides us to the light? Because being a victim isn't going to be the highest level of awareness. It's not going to be your consciousness saying you are saved because you are a victim. No. You got to be the savior. You have to understand to have compassion for both sides. The person who can hold compassion is showing that they're trying to put themselves in the other person's shoes. And then holding themselves accountable is saying, I'm trying to recognize where I'm failing, so that way I can improve and be better. This is look, dances on one foot. It's a balancing act. I hope you can see it's so bright. That's that dance. It's if both people can play it. But the thing is, the highest level that you can obtain isn't going to be weak. And that's the thing about what I noticed with narcissists. That's why they have the upper hand, is because they're not weak when it comes to, like, not saying that they're not, they got it. They got a vulnerable side. They got a weak spot. They do. Like, because remember, they're hiding the truth. They're harboring it. They're holding it inside so tightly, locked in a box somewhere. They're going to run you in circles before you can get anywhere near it, near their vulnerability. But then the empath's like, oh, my heart's on my shoulders. Everyone can know everything. I just want to give. What can I do for you? Be of service. This is a big message for me. We're experiencing goddess energy return to people, to humans. A new romantic cycle begins. New moon in Libra, balance. Remember, dances on one foot, balancing act, balance. We got Libra. And I've been talking about this dance and about this relationship dynamic. And this is the new, this is the next step here in our evolution, is this dynamic. We're going to be able to heal it when people can do these steps, take accountability, and become stronger. That's what it is. We're freaking testing each other to create that strength. Look, step out of your comfort zone. South node, like North node, that's like your life path. Step outside of your comfort zone. See what I'm saying? That's that right there. It's uncomfortable to change. We all get it. It's so hard to be something that, isn't the easy choice. But why does life need to be easy? Why do we want life to be easy? Have faith in your dreams. You are good enough. So, I just want to say that there is a space of compassion to hold for all people. I highly recommend that we take a moment here. I'm going to meditate on bringing healing energy to the narcissist, the accused narcissist, and codependents of the world that have the opportunity to change and heal themselves and hold themselves accountable for their actions and how they play a role in the dynamic that's causing so much pain, so much confusion, when I honestly think both parties just want to feel love. I don't care how hard you are, you want to feel love. I don't think there's a greater feeling than love. I don't care how much sex you have or how much anything, millions, billions of dollars. I think love is the best thing you can feel. And I think that's why real love, whether it be for yourself, family, friends, whatever, animals, the problem is we got to have it for ourselves. If we don't love ourselves, how can we expect anybody to love us? What is there to love if we don't love ourselves? How can we be positive and optimistic if we don't love ourselves? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.